So those of you that follow me on Twitter know that I've been advocating for quite a while, especially since he was drafted to Monday Night Raw, that we put Chad Gable in the Cruiserweight division, because I think Chad Gable versus Cedric Alexander would be a fucking fantastic match. But WWE does not run on my schedule, and unlike most fans, I actually realize that. So let's just give Buddy Murphy his fucking title shot, because it's gonna be good, right? Let's talk about 205 Live. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and we're here to talk about 205 Live for May 8th, 2018, but there's a lot of other things to talk about first. You know, I always call it the house cleaning. I think it's clever, or at least it amuses me. So, Backlash is a thing that happened. The best matches of the night were the first match of the night and the kickoff. Sorry to say, I know a lot of people are getting sick of Bayley, and a lot of people haven't jumped on the train for Ruby Riott like I have. But their match on the pre-show, along with Rollins versus my boy The Miz, were the two best matches of the night. But we did do a pay-per-view pick 'em, and we did have a lot of fun, and we did prove that I indeed suck at my own game, because I'm at last place once again. Myself at 23. Thank you to those who continue to play along with the pay-per-view pick'em. I know there's not really much point, there's not really much momentum to the game. You get your name added to a list, and it's all good. There's no prizes. It's play along if you want, and it's the usual suspects playing along as they always do. But we got me firmly in last place with 23. You got Mizark 10, who's an all-star at this game, but tied for second last with Lebanese Panther and 31 points apiece. My buddy Alex from work got 32. Matt D got 33. Fortune 4 Shooters, you guys are at 37. Cheney 815 and Broken Melvin S are tied at 38, and my awesome co-host Kristen, who usually does about as good as me, actually won the game this time around at 41 points. So any of you who are not following Black Cat Feline at Black Cat Feline, go congratulate her and tell her I told you to do it. There was no 205 Live review last week. I apologize for that. A, I was busy. B, we were having a hell of a lot of problems with Rogers Cable, as you heard me rant about last week during the NXT review. WWE Network, I've said it before, I'll say it again for those of you that are not aware, WWE Network is an actual cable channel up here in Canada. I know in the States you guys do it on your computer, Xbox, PS4, tablet, phone, whatever. There are times where I wish it was like that up here, but most of the time I do like watching it on the TV, because I just watch it like regular TV. But when the cable goes out, it's when I wish that it was an app, because then it wouldn't be affected by the cable being out. So big double birds to Rogers Cable, because they suck as usual, and apologies for not reviewing last week. We saw a little bit of, you know, some tag team action with Gallagher, Kendrick, and the guys from Japan who we're going to talk about later tonight, and whose direction I don't agree with whatsoever, if I'm completely honest with you. But if you're new to the channel, go up into the annotation up above. There are previous 205 Live reviews, previous NXT reviews, the Aftermath series. We just did the Aftermath not too long ago for WrestleMania weekend, talking about the Superstar Shakeup, the draft. We talked a little bit about the Greatest Royal Rumble, obviously, Mania, Takeover, the whole fucking bit. We didn't even touch on Backlash. Backlash was shit, wasn't it? Oh, yes. To quote an idiot from New York, they do it for Roman. Oh yes, check out my Off the Cuff series. I know I've been kind of lax on the Off the Cuff series. The Off the Cuff series is basically my topical series, which means it's all the videos that don't really fall into any other category. But I'm not going to be doing as many solo videos for the Off the Cuff. I think Off the Cuff is another one of those things that I tackle along with Guapo, along with Kristen and Guapo, you know, there's one or two people that I've spoken to that may or may not be thrown into the mix later on down the line, but I've spoken to them. There are a couple fun topics coming up in the next little while. Hopefully not as controversial as the ones at the beginning of the year that got me a lot of heat, and it's really par for the course, isn't it? Let's talk about 205 Live for this week. 3 matches and a decent video package. That is the description for tonight's event. Now, there's multiple backstage interviews, and I'm sorry, because 205 Live has taken the awesome direction that they have, less character-driven, more athletically-driven, in the best way I can possibly say this, I don't really care about backstage segments and backstage interviews. I don't care about this guy talking about how much he hates this guy, Roddy Raw. We had a great match at WrestleMania. 2 guys that didn't have a single bad thing to say about each other. Greatest Royal Rumble, we had Kalisto and can't think of his fucking name. He's the fucking champion. Cedric Alexander. And it was decent. It was a Kalisto match. It's a lot of fun. I don't know why my screen is being so dark. I don't know. I know you guys don't tune in to see my pretty sexy face, so just listen, treat it like a podcast if you want to. I don't know why my screen is going so dark. All the fucking lights are on. You can see it shining off the top of my fucking head. But I look dark. I don't know. I'm having a conversation with my camera, on camera, for you guys to enjoy. Oh yes. Super professional over here on the Spaz Phoenix channel. We started off with a video package that was just the various matches that are coming out throughout the night. You know, Tony Nese wants to make a big impact tonight. Okay. Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado are going to take on Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher, which we knew if we watched last week. I will say I did see 205 Live last week. It was pretty good. I caught it on Bally Rules, which is a super shitty after-the-fact streaming website. But it was pretty good, and we set up for Ali versus... oh, why can't I fucking talk tonight? Ali versus Buddy Murphy tonight. And like I said, they did various talking segments throughout the night. There is one thing I will say that was kind of cool. Ali talking in the back. It's funny because he's such a babyface, but he does try to come up with some really like smart-ass sort of edgy things to say every now and then. And he said something along the lines of, well, he managed to cut the weight, but he still hasn't cut the bullshit, which I liked a whole bunch. Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado versus Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher with Kalisto at ringside, and for reasons, Drew Gulak on commentary talking about how flipping is bad and noisemakers are bad and colorful things are bad, and cruiserweights on a cruiserweight show are bad. Pretty much. I thought he was going to get involved. Spoiler alert, he didn't, so this was relatively pointless. This ruined commentary for me, because Drew Gulak and what they're doing with him as far as an in-ring competitor is fucking amazing. I don't want to hear him talk. I hear him talk and I still think of the version of Drew Gulak that we got from Vince McMahon with the bullhorn and the siren and the placards and all that kind of thing. I just don't want it. And it's unfortunate because I do like this commentary team. Vic Joseph is, you know, par for the course as a play-by-play guy. I really like Nigel McGuinness, and I don't hate Percy Watson nearly as much as I did when he first started on NXT. So inserting Gulak in there was just obnoxious. But the match itself was good. They even got a little cheeky on commentary, actually saying, hey, can you imagine if there was a cruiserweight tag team division? Look what these guys would do, etc. That's why I'll get to that in a minute. That's why I disagree with something else, which I'm going to talk about later. But Dorado and Jack start, collar and elbow time, and a takeover by Jack, snapmare and a side headlock by Jack, and a test of strength. Test of strength shouldn't work for Jack Gallagher because not only is he really small, but him being like super pasty and looking like the long-lost vaudevillain makes him look even smaller. But, you know, test of strength is a thing that happened. Leg sweep by Dorado and pinning reversal sequence to follow. Second rope drop kick by Metalik and a back body drop. Suicide senton by Metalik was really fucking nice. Enziguri by Kendrick, boot by Kendrick, and a deep crossface strike across... Yeah, a deep crossface strike across the face is what I wrote there. Just being honest with you guys. Headbutt to the midsection by Jack. Why the fuck do you guys watch my videos? Headbutts to the midsection by Jack, and he starts going sort of the Pete Dunne route, working the joints, working the fingers, working the wrist, working the arm, the elbow, the shoulder, etc. You guys know, as soon as I laid my eyes on the guys from the UK during the UK tournament, specifically Pete Dunne, because I've gotten a chance to see so much of him in Destiny. I really love the joint manipulation style of wrestling. It's good. Snake Eyes by Jack, and Kendrick works the midsection that he's just been headbutting, which is a little bit of storytelling there. It's all good. Standing crossface armbar combination by Kendrick. Boot by Metalik. Drop. Boot by Metalik and a top rope crossbody by Dorado. Series of drop kicks by Dorado and a springboard stunner. The springboard stunner he does is good. I think he does... They call it like the Metalik... Or sorry, the Dorado rewind. on commentary. I don't know. It's a little cheesy, but I mean, they are making the Lucha House Party into sort of the New Day of 205 Live. So a little bit of cheesiness is okay. Just don't kill it. Then you're No Way Jose, and it's bad, and nobody wants to be No Way Jose. Boot by Jack and a slice bread number 2 by Kendrick. Stereo super kicks and stereo dives by Metalik and Dorado. A standard shooting star press by Dorado and the Lucha House Party get the win. And this is where I expect, because there's 3 faces in there, 2 heels in there, and a heel on commentary. Why did this not turn into a 3-on-3 brawl? You throw Gulak in the mix, you know, he reignites his furies with Kalisto, the tag teams continue to fight each other, and, you know, Drake Maverick comes in and channels his inner Teddy Long, holla holla holla, as my good buddy Okayfabe would say, and we have a 6-man tag for next week, but that's not what happened. For reasons, Lucha House Party get the win, it's all good. The fact that they're now teasing it on commentary is it just is what it is. I mean, like, when they announce it, they're gonna have to play it up like this big shocking announcement, and nobody's gonna be. It's gonna be cool when they do it. We're going to talk sometime later in another video about the possibility of the women's tag team match happening on either Raw or SmackDown as well. And it's going to be, if we do get it, at this point it's been talked about so much, it's going to be that surprise that surprises nobody, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be good. The Mae Young Classic version 2 or season 2 or whatever you want to call it could be a women's tag team tournament. Heard that somewhere along the grapevine. If that's true, it wouldn't hurt my feelings in the slightest. Tony Nese is going to make a big impact on 205 Live by taking on a jobber called Keith Claybell, who got, I think, about 1 punch in this whole match. But because Tony Nese is one of those awkward guys for me that I don't give a shit about, his gimmick doesn't really exist, but then when he gets in the ring, he's really good. I'm going to run down what this guy did to the jobber named Keith Claybell. Nese ragdolls him around the ring for a while, joking, smiling, you know, taunting the crowd. Look how easy this is. Roddy Rock, corner chops, series of kicks, and he kicks the jobber around the ring. He's doing the whole, like, Daniel Bryan typical, like, almost strong style-ish series of kicks, but once he's on the ground, he just literally kicks him around the ring like he's a fucking soccer ball, hangs him up in the Tree of Woe for an inverted mud hole stomp, which makes me smile. Crossbody style running forearm, couple times across the ring, it's all good. Running knee in the corner a la Zack Ryder, I think, except a lot more aggressive, gets the win for Tony Nese. It's nothing, but at the same time, it's just like, look at how much fun this guy has throwing this guy around the ring. It's decent. It's a good little thing. It's, oh, what's the comedian's name? Russell Brand. It's like cotton candy or butter. It's just a thing that's there. That's what this match was. It's good. We get a video package by Hideo Itami, and it accomplished a couple different things. For those of you who didn't watch him in NXT, which is awkward because NXT is on the network just like 205 Live is on the network, so there's not very much crossover there, but they showed some highlights of him from NXT. They showed some highlights of him making his introduction into 205 Live and the initial pairing of him and Tozawa, which is all good. But then almost immediately they have him being interviewed in the back. So, you know, I didn't really want to be his partner. It kind of sucked. Why do I need a partner? And it shows them falling apart, and that's the end of it. Now, I have no problem with this team breaking up eventually, because Tozawa is over, and he's a face, and he's, like, super excitable. I mean, they even had him in there with the Titus Worldwide group there for a little bit, which was terrible. And Itami is this pissed off, you know, intense, you know, Japanese strong style guy demanding the world respect him. So they are an odd couple team, and yes, we all roll our eyes at the odd couple teams, but at the same time, they were getting some chemistry together as a good little team. Now, why I say I have no problem with this team breaking up, I just say not yet. Get the tag team title off the ground, have a tournament with like 4 or 6 or 8 teams, have it be these two versus the Lucha House Party, which you know it's going to be anyway, have them get to the finals, have the Lucha House Party win the finals, they go off, they share the titles, they do it friggin' Freebird style among the 3 of them. They go out and celebrate with the Ratchets and the Noisemakers, and by the Ratchets I don't mean Naomi, I mean the Noisemakers, although I'm sure Naomi's a noisemaker too, but that's another story for another video. And then you take the frustration of losing those titles, and then you have Itami versus Tozawa. But you could tell a lot of stories, and if they cut the legs out from under this before it even starts, I don't know why you would do that. I like Tozawa, I like Atami, I'm gonna like their feud when they feud. It just doesn't need to happen yet. Hope you guys are with me on that one. Don't really know what else to say. But, going back to talking about the UK guys, once again, and specifically my fandom of Pete Dunne, and more Pete Dunne on my TV is always good. Drake Maverick is in the back talking to Cedric Alexander because he is the locker room leader, being the champion. He says, we're going to be in London next week, and we are going to be playing host to the WWE's UK division, aka the UK division still doesn't have a show. But it's going to be the guys from 205 Live versus the guys from the UK division. Now, the easiest thing in the world to book right here is champion versus champion, Pete Dunne versus Cedric Alexander, which would be a fucking phenomenal match. What I hope they do, and I hope you guys will understand it a little bit more after we talk about the next match, I really hope we get Pete Dunne versus Buddy Murphy, because that would be fucking fantastic. But in general, the UK guys, coming and joining in with the 205 Live guys and having a little bit of a mishmash show. You guys know in the past I've said they should blend NXT 205 Live and the UK guys and just call it the network division, because at this point the NXT title, or sorry, the UK title is defended purely on NXT. The guys from NXT and 205 Live have sort of swapped back and forth. Anyways, It couldn't hurt. I mean, you had Tyler Bate on all 3 shows. You've had Mark Andrews on all 3 shows. You had Roderick Strong, who, like, dipped his toe over in 205 Live before joining the Undisputed Era, and now he's a champion over there, so why would he come back? It's just, you would gain so much. You could have, like, a, I suggested this before, because the bragging rights idea has now sort of evolved into what we do at Survivor Series now, which is cool. We have Raw versus SmackDown at Survivor Series. So, the night before Survivor Series, have NXT Takeover bragging rights. NXT versus 205 Live versus the UK division. All the championships are defended. You could have one fucking hell of a show, but I don't book the show, so they're not going to do that for me. What they are going to do for me is Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali in the main event, which is fucking great. This, I hate to say this because neither one of them is the champion, and I like Cedric Alexander as well. If they wanted to make a big splash in Saudi Arabia when they did the big fake Royal Rumble, they should have put this on the card. I don't know what kind of response it would have gotten, but this was a good fucking match, and it deserves to not be just on weekly television. If you want my personal opinion, which you may or may not, you could be tuning in just to make fun of me or just to watch me fumble over my words, which I've done a lot tonight. Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali, double leg takedown in the corner by Murphy to start and chops by Ali, shoulder tackle by Murphy and a reversal by Ali. A reversal when Ali tries to hit a head scissor. He goes to put him in a power bomb. One tries the head scissor, one tries the powerbomb, neither one really happens, they fall apart, they start again. Chops by Ali, head scissors, gets him stuck in the ropes. It's weird. I don't know what Buddy Murphy was supposed to do here, because Ali head scissors him. It looks like he's going to head scissor him right out of the ring, but he gets caught rather awkwardly in the ropes. It's bad. I think he just, like, to make up for the botch, I think he just kicks him out of the ring after the fact. Drop kick out of the ring by Ali, and a superplex on the outside by Murphy. Hard Irish whip by Murphy, corner to corner, corner to corner. Lots and lots of punishment to the back of Ali. Murphy rides a chin lock for a long time, because he's a heel. Eventually there's a jawbreaker by Ali. Now they go for the crossbody, the double crossbody spot where they run into each other and they both fall, which is a pretty standard spot. The only reason I'm putting some emphasis on this is these guys smack into each other and both fucking they ragdoll for each other as if it was Dolph Ziggler versus Dolph Ziggler. Or I guess if you want to make an NXT reference, Dolph Ziggler versus Tyler Breeze. I don't know. Kitchen sink by Murphy, dropkick by Ali, pendulum kick by Ali. Murphy catches him in a sleeper. He tries to do that slingshot into the roll-through stunner. He doesn't. He does the slingshot. Murphy just catches him, locks him in a sleeper, which is good. Ali reverses it into a backpack sleeper, which you know I love. Anything you can do, I can do better is the best story in wrestling. Running corner snapmare by Murphy, and this is the only way I can explain this. They had him, Ali had him in a backpack sleeper, which is, you know, up on the back and around the neck from behind. Now, basically, Murphy grabs him like he's going to snapmare him, but instead he runs towards the corner and does sort of a Kevin Owens style cannonball, slamming himself and Ali into the turnbuckle upside down. It's good. Series of forearms by Ali and a suspended tornado DDT in the ropes, which was just fantastic because Murphy, although it was a tornado DDT, Murphy was also stuck in the ropes, so he just sort of pendulumed like this and sort of stuck there like a tent spike, which was good. Top rope front first suplex by Murphy, follows it up by a multi-bomb. And I'm sorry, it's a simple move, but I love the multi-bomb. Powerbomb a guy? Don't let go. Lift him up, powerbomb him again. Lift him up, powerbomb him again. And they play it up with the referee and the commentary and the selling from Ali and the whole bit that it's going to be a win by TKO. Nigel McGuinness on commentary gets right on talking about how rare a win by TKO is in wrestling, saying that he's only even had a few in his own illustrious career, which is good. Ali eventually gets back to his feet, hits an X-Factor and a super kick on the outside. Ali misses the 450 splash, and for some reason Murphy snaps at this moment, drops a dirty, disgusting-looking knee drop to the back of Ali's arm, works the arm over, goes into almost that Jack Gallagher joint manipulation, you know, I'm going to tear your arm out of your socket type thing, hits a really, really aggressive Murphy's Law for the win. The as the replays are going, the commentators talk, you know, pretty heatedly amongst each other about whether Buddy Murphy should be a champion, have a title shot. Nigel McGuinness is saying that he already had a title shot. He lost it because of the weight. He should have that shot already, which I personally agree with. Don't necessarily know if I would put the title on him yet because Cedric Alexander is fucking great, but at least put him in the ring, get some sort of story going. You've always got Ali in the background, if anything. If the story falls apart, or if for some reason Murphy and Alexander don't have chemistry, you could always insert Ali, have a triple threat scenario, because we know what Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. I almost said Cedric Ali there. I did. It's true. But yeah, there's a whole lot of good shit. They're going to do the tag team thing. They're breaking up one of their tag teams before they even introduce those titles, which is kind of shit. Really, really questioning that one. Hope they bring that one back around. And I also hope you will join me tomorrow night when we talk about NXT. We're going to see Tommaso Ciampa hopefully kick the living shit out of Cassius Ohno. And next week we've got the 205 guys versus the UK division. Hope you will join me. Until then, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.